What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of College Hill Celebrity Edition. This is Season 2, Episode 3. The episode is titled Work Hard, Party Harder. And let's go ahead and get right into the episode. So, everybody wakes up. They're ready to get to school because there's going to be a field trip today, right? Here's the problem. There's one person that's missing. Well, technically, there's two. Iman is missing because he had to handle something back home, but everyone involved was already privy to this information. However, Ray J is missing because he left the night before. Where did Ray J go? We have no idea, but at some point, he'll come back and say whatever that is. Alright, so another thing that we did get to see was Parker and Jocelyn have a conversation. Because at the end of the day, Parker had nothing to do with Jocelyn getting into it with Tiffany. However, because she shared a room with Jocelyn kept locking this poor girl out of her room. And it's like, Jocelyn, not only did you lock her out of the room, when you found out that she went to the other roommates trying to get advice about it, you called her sneaky, you called her out her name the next morning, like, you were doing a lot. So I did appreciate them coming to some type of resolve in that. Jocelyn does say that she is a lot. She has a large personality. And that they will, moving forward, just talk to each other instead of getting other people involved. And I'm just like, okay, good. Because that whole situation should have never happened. And the energy that Jocelyn had for Parker was absolutely misdirected. So hopefully moving forward, those two will not have any more issues. So now everybody gets on the bus. They're ready for the field trip. And we learn that they're going to a museum. I didn't get to catch the name of the museum because they just kind of flashed it across the screen. I kind of wish they would have had at least put it somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't. So they went to this museum and there was no video of them actually in the museum, but basically the assignment was for them to go in there, partner up, and then they're going to choose a topic to have to tell the professor about. Now, for us as viewers, we got to see them talk about their experience going through this museum, and this museum is specifically the journey of being a Black person in America from the time of slavery, I believe up until, segregation maybe? I'm not sure because, again, I've never been to this museum. So I'm not exactly sure where the stopping point is for all the things that are covered in this museum. But I do know that they talked a lot about slavery and segregation and all the things that Africans and Black Americans had to go through. And honestly, it is extremely heartbreaking. Because even though we are free now, you know what I'm saying, to imagine the things that people had to go through back then, I honestly don't think that we would have survived. I hate when people, they be like, oh, because if I had to be a slave back then, I definitely would have turned on my master. I definitely would have done this, that, another. And it's like, you were not in those shoes. So what you're not going to do is judge the people from back then. And also on top of that, you don't know what you would have done in that situation. But just knowing that Black people and Africans have been through so much in this country alone is mind-boggling. And the fact that they love to try to sweep things under the rug that Black people have been through in America is very frustrating. But let me get back onto the show. So it's clear that everyone has, an awakening after they have gone to this museum. So then we go back home, and guess who comes home? Iman. They decide, let's play a prank on him. So in the previews, we did see that Jocelyn threw a drink on Quay. But that was not for real, y'all. It was just a prank because they wanted to make it seem like Jocelyn was still causing havoc in the house. So Quay, he's sitting in his bed or whatever, and Iman is talking to him, and he's like, you seen Jocelyn? Because I don't think she should come up here or whatever. Jocelyn come around the corner, he I don't think you need to come up here, you don't need to be in my room or whatever. She throws a drink on him. Iman gets him, in between them, because number one, we don't have time for Jocelyn to beat up Quay, and then Quay can't hit a woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he's like trying to break this up, and they're like, nah, we just playing, or whatever. And I was like, you know what? That was a cute little prank for them to play on him. It wasn't too much, you know what I mean? It was cool. So next thing we see is Jocelyn, Tiffany, and Amber. They're all hanging out, whatever. And Ray J DMs Amber like, oh, what I missed in school or whatever. And she's like, you missed a lot. So then Jocelyn was like, oh, tell him that, prank him too. Tell him that me and PP got into it. So they get on FaceTime and she tells Ray J that, oh yeah, because, Jocelyn and Parker, they had a whole fight. They was pulling hair, all this stuff. But of course they end up telling him that, it was a prank. Now here's my thing. Ray J, when are you coming back? Because I find it random that out of all the people to reach out to, you reached out to Amber, of all people. Like, you have no relationship or connection with her, yet you reached out to her. And on top of that, sir, where'd you go? You have some explaining to do. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and move on, because now the group is doing homework, while Amber is dyeing her hair blonder than blonde. Now, one thing that I will say that I respect about Iman Shumpert is the fact that the next morning, because like I said, everybody was already doing homework or whatever. So the next morning, he hops on the van, he goes to the museum, so that way he can get his assignment done and turn it in with everybody else. I'm like, you know what? I can actually respect that, because not only did he handle his previous priorities that, we were not privy to on the show, but he also was able to make time so that way he can get his assignment in, as if he's really taking this serious. You know what I'm saying? Because you have Ray J, he's missing yet again. Alright, so now we are in class, and we're going to go group by group and what they had to say. So first up, we have Parker and Tiffany, and they're going to talk about mass incarceration. Now, when it comes down to them doing the assignment, they did a great job. However, Tiffany got very emotional because of something else that she saw at the museum, and it was them referring to lynching as calling a person who, I can't lie, this was very frustrating because I have never seen this in my life. They were referring to a black person being lynched as a Negro jerky. I have never heard that term in my life. I have never seen that. And I absolutely understand why New York felt the way that she felt. My God. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and move on. So next you had Orion and Jocelyn. They did their presentation. I feel like theirs went by super duper quick. And then next was Quay and Amber. Their segment was on segregation. And then you have, of course, Amber having that perspective of coming up as a mixed person. And then you have to see how bad white people treated, black people over the years. It's crazy. So lastly, we have Iman, because like I said, he was able to actually do the assignment. And he just basically gives his perspective on how he viewed picking cotton. This is just an example, but that he gave. And it was like picking cotton, when he thought of it when he was young, it was just like, oh, you're making me pick cotton because you don't like me. But no, they were picking the cotton so that way the white man and his family and whoever else that was white around, they could make profit off of the cotton that they picked. You know what I mean? It was all business. It was all transactional. It was a whole lot that was a thought out plan that white people created. And it's absolutely crazy. And it's so crazy because white people love to forget their history. Like, it really bothers me that as a black American in the U.S., they tell us that, we are living with trauma from our ancestors. And I'm like, why is it that we have to carry that trauma? But white people, they came from some of the most gruesome, trifling people. They don't live with that guilt. So I'm trying to figure out, how do we fix that? You know what? That's for a whole other video. You know what? Let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so this is one thing that kind of annoyed me, because it's like, I know that we're on TV, but the way that the professor addressed the fact that Ray J wasn't there was very strange to me. because he goes on to talk about how, oh, well, Willie Norwood, I see he isn't here, but, I think that he really would have been able to grasp what we were talking about moving forward for the civil rights movement. Like, sir, I get all of that, but why are you telling the whole class this? Tell Willie Norwood that. Why are we telling the whole class how Ray J has completely messed himself up? This ain't their business. Move on to the lesson plan. Alright, y'all. Now we get into the extracurricular activities. You have Tiffany, Parker, and Quay. They are signing up to be a part of the, I think Tiffany wants to be a flag girl. Parker wants to be a stingette. And then I know that Quay wants to be a drum major. Now, they all have their work cut out for them because I think they're going to have to perform at the Magic City Classic. And I feel like, listen, out of the 3 that we saw, I feel like New York wasn't doing too bad swinging the flag around. So we gonna see who gonna actually excel in this. Alright, y'all. So Ray J, he decides to come back. He done missed about 3-4 assignments, according to Amber. So I'm just like, sir, how are you actually going to catch up? Or will you ever catch up? Because this next thing that I'm about to talk about was a fool. So they get to their next class. They only have taken 2 classes so far. Now we're adding on an acting class, right? So the professor tells Parker, go ahead and start reading, what you guys are going to have to do. She starts reading, and then he tells her to hold on, because all you hear is Ray J flipping and rummaging through papers, flipping around the notebooks. Baby boy definitely don't know what page she's on. Like, it's just a mess. I'm like, Ray J is not going to get it together. There's no way. There's no chance that he's going to get it together. So in Ray J's confessional, he talks about how, when he was 13 years old, he wanted to be an actor, or he wanted to do some acting for scripted TV, and he's done it before. And I'm like, yeah, you got your acting opportunities. Because I don't know if you guys know it or not, but Ray J actually was on another show before he was on Moesha. Like, we all know him for playing Dorian, but he was actually on the Sinbad show, which I believe only lasted like a season, but he was on that show. And because this is an acting class, I feel like he's going to think that he's above it. Because it's bad enough he thinks he's above school. But acting is something that he's already done, even though he's not a good actor. So he's definitely going to act like he's above any of these acting assignments. I can see it now. Y'all, so then we have Quay reading, right? I think he was reading something about, like, what a metaphor is or something like that. All you see is Ray drifting off. Baby boy is falling asleep. The professor has to stop yet again. Sir, are you falling asleep on me? Take your glasses off. He talking about their readers. Negro, those are sunglasses. Then he decides, oh, I want to take those off, put some other glasses on. And when I tell you he kept flippity-flopping with those, I'm like, what is happening right now? Because I definitely would have put Ray J out of my class. His phone started ringing. I'm like, what is this? Then the man is trying to give out the assignment. It's called, I think, I Am. And it's basically for them to describe who they are. It's like, it gets pretty deep because he wants them to be like, I am the most angry when. And like, Jocelyn was like, oh, when I'm hungry. He's like, no, I want you to really think about it and really, say something deep. You know what I mean? And then on top of all of that that's going on, though, with Ray J, here comes New York and her foolishness. Because as the man is giving out the assignment, he says, I feel most loved when, and they're supposed to fill in the blank, right? You think this is about to be real deep. New York says, when his penis is inside of me. Ma'am, you're in a classroom. Get out of here. I'm just like, what am I watching right now? So then the guy, he said, like, when are you the most happiest or something like that? And Amber was like, I haven't been happy in years. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, I know that we were going to get deep at some point on this show, but, like, you haven't been happy in years? Like, That's crazy to me. So we actually see her break down and cry because she talks about how, Halloween was probably like the happiest time of her life because, I guess she grew up very poor and stuff. And that was the one time when she got to dress up and be somebody else. And honestly, I really felt bad for Amber, especially considering she's crying on her birthday. Like, this is literally her birthday that she's crying on. And you have Ray J, he's over there giving her a hug or whatever. And in his confessional, he's like, I don't like this acting class because this is supposed to be a class on acting. This is not therapy. Why are we getting so deep? And honestly, I do understand where Ray J is coming from. It's like, should we be passing out scripts and they're going to like act out a little play or something? What are we doing here? So Ray J feels like this man ain't about to teach him nothing. So we gonna see Ray J act a fool in this class again. So the crew ends up leaving school. They go home. They get everything ready for Amber's birthday. They have decorations up. And, everyone's excited to celebrate her birthday with her. And Jocelyn gave her beautiful roses. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, Jocelyn, she lets her know and us know that her husband is coming in town. So baby girl done put on this really nice dress. I said, well, you know what, Jocelyn? You look really nice. So her man comes through and he brings bottles, of real liquor. Because she told him make sure he picks some stuff up. He got Amber a specific bottle. I don't know if that was Ace of Spades. I don't know what that was. I don't even drink. So he got her a bottle. He got a couple of other bottles for the whole party. And I was like, all right, cool. I don't even mind this man coming through. So y'all, here's the thing. I do think that, Amber was appreciative of them celebrating her birthday. However, I do understand where she came from when she was like, I think it's irresponsible for us to party, on a school night. Here's the thing. When you're actually college age, you can pull it off. These people on this show, they next numbers are like almost 40 or 30. So the body hits a little different. You can't be staying up till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning thinking you gonna make it to class at 9 and you gonna be okay. Y'all not gonna be okay. Y'all old now. No offense. But I mean, like, Parker might be cool because I think she's still pretty young. But the rest of y'all, go lay down somewhere. But nonetheless, all right, so it's time for school. Because again, they got drunk on a school night. You have Amber and Jocelyn. They both say they are going to school because they are hungover. Ray J, he ain't going to school. Amber did try her best to try to, wake him up. But I'm just like, sir, how many days have you already missed? How many assignments have you already missed? What are you still doing here? Nonetheless, everybody else goes to school. And the class that they have today is French. Here's the thing. Iman, he actually can repeat the language back to the professor. However, Quay was struggling, okay? He could not get those words together. Now, I think he would have done a lot better in Spanish, but French is not his strong suit. So now we go back to the acting class, and the professor is like, where are those other 3 kids? And they're like, the girls are under the weather. As for Ray J, they were trying to come up with an excuse for him, but Amber got straight to it. Was like, he slept in because he didn't want to come to school. And the professor is like, all right, well, get him on the phone. I'm like, what? Wait, what? You not just going to keep going with the lesson plan? No? All right. Let's get him on the phone then. So Ray doesn't answer, but they do leave a message that says, I know that the 2 girls aren't feeling too well, but Ray J, you need to come to class and stop running from me. I'm like, yeah, it does look like Ray J is running from you at this point. All right, so now they go to the next class, and Dr. Petty, she notices that 3 of the kids are not here, and they definitely need to be in school because they have a very strict attendance policy. And I'm like, Parker, I don't know what to tell you, lady, because I can't tell these grown people to get out of bed and come to class. All right, so now let's get to the assignment. You already know they had to remember those stanzas, right? But they had partnered up. Here's the problem. Quay partnered with Ray. Ray ain't here. Iman partnered with Jocelyn. She ain't here. So now they have to do their parts by themselves. And I mean, luckily they had the material memorized. Orion and Parker, they actually partnered together, and I mean, she definitely had it more than he did because she was definitely carrying, okay? But at least they were together. So, of course, the only person who's left is Amber, and that's because, she had a separate assignment. And now her assignment was to learn about the 9 men who created the actual school. The problem is that she only memorized their first names, and that was it. So the professor was like, well, I'm going to let you have a delay for a week, and that's it. I'm like, well, hopefully she's going to be able to perform because, Amber, what's going on here? Why didn't you do your homework? But nonetheless, the kids go home, and here's the thing. How is it that these students, they went to class, they been at school, and then they come home and y'all are still in the bed? Jocelyn laid up in bed. Ray J laid up in bed. The only person who's up is Tiffany. Well, here's the thing. They are in for a rude awakening because Dr. Petty decided to pull up to the house to see what was going on. Because how is it that 3 students are missing? So, yeah, she had to pull up on them. Amber, she actually is the one who gets the door. And that is where the episode ends. So, next week, things should get very interesting. How are you guys liking this show so far? Because I feel like this episode, it was kind of compared to the last ones. But nonetheless, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all on the next one. Bye, guys.